What's up, everybody? Welcome to the State of Wild, episode 147, a regular YouTube video web series podcast thingy. As usual, I'm joined with two good friends and co-host Roffle and Corbett. Guys, I know we overloaded everybody with 2 episodes last week, but we still have one more thing to get through before Twist release later this week. How are you guys doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. We took a bit of a break after the content dump the week prior, so well rested, ready to talk about that one last thing that we didn't quite get to with either the devs or our assessment of the dev interview.
Yeah, I'm coming out of hibernation for Hearthstone. I feel like I've been tucked away during the freezing cold Australian winter in August. And I'm ready. I'm ready to Hearthstone it up with Twist and new cuts and Disco Warlock. And God, I'm excited. So let me cough into the mic for a bit.
Disco Warlock's got Corb sick already. But yeah, I guys, I'm so excited for this new Twist format. I cannot wait. Partially because we also have new cards. So 34 brand new cards. I guess you can add Cho'Gall and Hobart to that. We did talk about it last week, so I guess we'll talk about it this week. They're basically new cards, given how drastically they were reworked. But yeah, excited to hop into things. We've got a lot of cards to talk about. Like I said, 34 to 36. So let's hop right on in and start evaluating setting these brand new cards that'll be out on Thursday for Wild, Friday for the brand new Twist format. So let's start with Druid. Let's talk about one that I'm kind of excited about, and that is Invigorate, because Wild Growth is back and better than ever. Back to 2 mana. It's a 2 mana nature spell. Choose one. Gain an empty mana crystal or draw a card. Wild Growth is maybe the best 2-drop of all time, and somehow this is better than Wild Growth. So how are you guys feeling about it?
You say you're excited about this one, but knowing how it's likely to be used, not me.
Excited in Twist. We're not going to talk this in Wild because
are we not?
We
talking
can do
about
both.
any of these?
I'm not excited about this in Wild. I'm excited about this in Twist.
Yeah, this makes me want to start having a coughing fit like Corb when I consider it in Wild, because it's likely to just be very good in Tony Druid. So we can dismiss that. It is in fact just like a pretty much strictly better Wild Growth, right? Because you have the option to not only get both the coin and the ramp in some weird context, but also just like choose to take the draw or not the coin, the draw before turn 10 when you're like starved for cards and don't need the mana. So like this is just better Wild Growth, and like you said, Wild Growth still at 3 mana, one of the best cards off of Zeph, and like one of the best turn 2 plays that you could have, especially in a format that we're anticipating will be a little bit slower like Twist is. Probably the best turn 2 you can have in the format.
I had us at just under 11 mentions of Wild Growth while talking about this card, and I think we just got over that. So good job, team. It's Wild Growth.
But better.
But sometimes better.
Yeah. But sometimes better. It's a good card.
Yeah, I do miss 2 mana Wild Growth as degen and as powerful as it was. Like you said, not excited about this in the Wild context, but in Twist, I'm excited to play 2 mana, get a mana crystal. I don't think we need to talk any further about how good this card is. So let's talk about some other ones. Let's talk about Rat Sensei. 2 mana 2/2 beast, battle cry, and death rattle. Add 2 1/1 turtles with taunt to your hand. These turtles also beast, so looking like they're supporting that beast druid archetype in both Twist and Wild, primarily Twist, obviously. Seems good. That's a billion beast in one card. And by a billion, I mean 5, but it's a lot of beast.
Yeah, have you looked at the turtle art too, though?
Yeah, but it doesn't match. Roffle, it's not the perfect colors from the Ninja Turtles.
I mean, you can't do it. You can't be that far on the nose. Like, come on.
I am not a lawyer. I don't know what you can and can't do with this kind of thing.
We always refer to Duck Tech in those scenarios, and he is a lawyer. He wrote the patch notes, so I'm sure he's got it sorted out. But yeah, this card is like pretty nutty for Beast Druid, especially with like the Night of the Wild change, because you want a lot of beasts to die now, and you don't really care when that happens. It also buys you a little bit of time, so like 1/1 taunts can be annoying in matchups without pings. They can just like slow things down until you get to the cards that you need, even in like a slower Druid deck. I think this is just a quality card.
Card's broken. Like, absolutely 100% broken. Like, you get 4 resources for like including you get 5 resources for like 2 mana. It's ridiculous. And the fact that it does like this 1-for-1 discount, your Matriarch and Knight of the Wild, like card is so busted. I don't know if the archetype's good enough, but the archetype's probably not that far away. It's just a little slow compared to the mech stuff, but it wouldn't shock me if we were able to push like Beast Druid up into like very, very competitive tier.
Yeah, like it's been a deck at times, and it's been like hovering on the edges at other points. So, like, another card or two, even remotely close to this quality, could help it get there. I think it's on the fringes for sure.
Yeah. I think it's like you guys said, great card for Druid both in Twist and Wild. I think it's just going to be like a generically good card in Twist, whereas in Wild, I think it's going to be really good in like the specific archetype that is Beast Druid. I think you like have to cut Weblords from that deck now because you're playing now a Battlecry 2-drop. I'm not really sure how the deck's going to work out, but I was playing a little bit of Beast Druid just with like the changed Knight of the Wild and Addled Grizzly before this card's even come out, and I was having a decent amount of success. But yeah, I mean, the synergy with this and like stuff like Oracle and the Knights and the Matriarchs and everything like that, really excited. This is Druid. Yeah. We're 2 cards in, looking really strong.
Yeah, I saw the Addled Grizzly change, and I was like, I can't wait to play Beast Druid. And I was about to, just when the changes went live. Then I saw this, and I was like, okay, well, now I have to wait until this comes out.
I couldn't help myself. I had to.
Yeah, I did the same thing where I was really amped up for it. I'm like, I can't do it yet. I've been trying to avoid decks that got like very specific busted new cards.
Same.
Yeah, I told myself when I was streaming, I was like, guys, this is not full power yet. I couldn't help myself though, because it's like Beast Druid is like up there for like a really nice archetype that I've loved from the past couple years. Got the couple changes, and it's got a buff here, or a new card here, so I'm excited about it. All right, last new card for Druid. Let's talk about Cenarian Hold. So this is a 2-mana location, 2 durability. Your next choose 1 card this turn has both effects combined. So we've seen text like this before on minions and things like that, but none of those have really kind of stuck around and been powerful players in Wild. Now that we can play this on a 2-mana location, use it twice, do we think that an effect like this now on a location is finally what pushes this effect to be powerful enough in Wild?
Probably not in Wild, or if I had to guess, no. Just because there aren't that many choose 1 cards that are worth considering, other than now Invigorate. But in Twist, like any slow Druid is going to run both Invigorate and Nourish, and being able to like not have to battle cry a minion into it, have it like the structure or the nature of a location makes this type of effect a little bit more appealing, just because you choose when you want to put it to use. So like this on a Nourish is pretty gross. And then like I think you just usually like in a format like Twist, I think you probably just win if you get both effects on a Nourish on curve. So it maybe depends on how many like slow Druid archetypes there are, how many other choose 1 effects there are, but like I don't know, it's tempting just with Invigorate and Nourish. It's just like it takes up a card slot. Either way, arguably Druid has one of the best like class sets of the Caverns of Time, regardless of how strong this is, just because the other 2 are hard carrying.
Yeah, I don't think it I don't think it pushes anything specific in Wild, because it's more of a complementary piece that already goes into decks that play Nourish, and not really a lot of that going on right now in Wild. But another very broken card. Like it's outright another very broken card. Like you play the 4-mana 4/4. Your next choose 1 has cards combined. Like you're playing that in Standard with the drum package, but like this is cheaper. It lets you play other choose 1s before you want to, play a specific thing. So like you can set it up like way easier, extra durability, just busted as hell. So I think Druid like probably got the best set out of everything. Like card for card, pound for pound, like this is absurd.
Yeah, at least from the new cards perspective. Right?
From the new cards, yeah.
But yeah, Druid 2 thumbs up from all 3 of us here. All right, let's move into Hunter. Let's start with Dernhold Imposter. There you go. Weird words. 3-mana 3/3. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random 3-cost minion that gains poisonous. I think it's safe to say that this is not a wild card. This is a twist-specific card. And this is going to be a card that feels like it's not going to be very good until it randomly hits Acid Maw and then it's Omega Busted, right?
Dread Scale.
That's what I meant. The AoE. Yeah, that one. Dude, it's been so long since I've played these cards. I don't know which one's which. But yeah, Dread Scale.
You're gonna learn quick, Meowth. You're gonna figure it out fast.
Yeah, randomly turning into a one-sided AoE in Twist. Who's excited for Political Talks 2.0? Let's go.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of rage induced by this card, but like I don't think it's going to be reliable enough to like actually be put in people's decks on purpose.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much, like going through and looking at the 3-drops and thinking about what the general payoff is like. My expectation is that it's, well, I don't know. The more I'm kind of looking at it, I'm like, it's pretty generically powerful, right? Like, just a traditional random 3-drop randomly gains poison. Like, that's a lot of value add to a random 3-drop. But if there was a deck like Highlander Hunter, I would maybe be a little bit more inclined to think that could go in a twist version of that. But I don't know. I haven't really gone through the process of like looking at all the 3-drops and thinking about just how shitty or, solid that this could be. My inclination is that it's not good though.
As somebody who plays a lot of like random effects, there are a lot of bad cards that you just completely forget even exist. There's that like 1/5 that summons an imp every time and it takes damage. Wouldn't that just kill itself if it deals damage to itself and then summons a min?
Maybe. Have we ever had that interaction? I guess
I don't know. That would be kind of funny, but like there's just like there's so many. There's a 0/7 spell damage. Like there's a lot of really bad hits off of this.
Well, that 0/7 got buffed, so that card might not be the worst thing if you're playing like kill commands and quick shots in your hunter deck. No, but like if it was just random 3-cost hunter minions, I think I'd be a lot more excited. I think it'd be a lot stronger, obviously. But the fact that it like also hits the neutral pool, like that's what kind of turns me off of this, even in something like Twist. But I also haven't done a deep dive, like you said, into what all the 3-drops are.
The neutral pool is absolutely what scares me about this card, not having looked at the specifics just yet.
All right, let's move on to Time Lost Raptor. Cute little play on words here, because Echo wasn't introduced until Unguro, and now this guy is like lost in time because bringing Echo back to an old thing. Yeah, maybe.
And adapt.
Yeah, and adapt. Yeah, true. I hadn't even gotten to the text. Come on, Roffle. 2-mana 1/1 beast with Echo. Battle Cry, adapt your Time Lost Raptors. So the idea here is like you play the first one, it adapts once. You play your second one, the one that you just played adapts once, but your original one adapts again, so it's adapted twice. So on, the more that you play this. That being said, it is a 2-mana 1/1 on its own, so this is not very good until later in the game, right, where you get to play these in multiples. So I guess it really depends on what Hunter decks are looking like in Twist. This feels very not wild because there's no Beast Warper, and so you're having to actually pay 2 mana for these, which feels kind of bad. So I'm looking at this specifically in Twist, and it kind of just depends on the decks that are out there.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me all that much, but good God, I just imagine what a Beast Warper would be like, and I almost had a coughing fit again. Like that was we do not need that, but thank God it doesn't exist. This isn't I don't know. Like I'm not super high on this card personally, but I've been wrong before.
Terrible card. It's 1 star.
Yeah. Also, Roffle, we don't have a Beast Warper yet.
Stop.
Yet.
Stop.
All right. Last but not least for Hunter here, we have Trial of the Zormongars. So this is a 5-mana spell with Dreadscale and Acid Maw on the art, which is very fitting because the text on this card says summon copies of 2 beasts in your deck that cost 3 or less. This feels very much a tutor for your Dreadscale and Acid Maw. 5 mana, wipe the board. Seems easy.
Yes, but the thing about Dreadscale and Acid Maw is you kind of want to draw them, right? Because that's how they become good cards. And then, so in this instance, you're like hoping not to draw them, and if you draw them, it completely breaks the card to the point where it's like unplayable. So this card seems really bad to me personally for that reason, like because you have to, that's like a big patches draw if you accidentally hit one of the 2 beasts and you're relying on this to clear the board. Like that just renders the card kind of useless, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think like if you're playing this, you're putting it in a deck where you actually have probably a small package of beasts, and like sometimes you hit the giga. Like maybe you play 3 or 4. 3-cost beasts would be the idea. I'm kind of flipping through it. I'm like, what does that actually look like? Like, what do you actually play? And it's like, oh, these options aren't they aren't fantastic. I mean, you do have like King Mukla or something like that. So like, if you play 5 mana and you get is it a copy? Someone copies. Yeah, okay. So like as long as they're in there. So you get a copy of a Mukla and like an Acid Morph for 5. Like how good is that? It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not terrible.
Probably be happier with the dread scale, but like either one, like depending on the board state. If you're behind, you'd probably prefer the dread scale. If you're ahead, you might like the acid mod to leverage that that board state. But I mean, the thing about the change to the dread scale acid mod is that they're independently okay cards now, or like they do something independently, so you don't necessarily need to hit them. It's just like, I mean, if you're running 3, even 4 beasts, you draw two of them before you play this is not unreasonable. I don't know. It seems like a lot of deck building restriction just to get one card that's like an okay payoff.
Yeah, but sometimes it's insane. Sometimes you get the Acid Red combo. So I don't know. Tough. Probably, I do agree. It's probably not worth it because if you're not hitting exactly the Dread Acid Morph combo, then it's not worth it, and you can't just play that alone because you're gonna draw one of them. Like it's gonna happen.
Do you think that this has any potential in something like Wild in Arena Hunter, where you're playing like Selective Breeders, Dreadscale Acid Maw, plus nothing else? Like it, or are we still worried about that patches thing?
Or now hear me out. Elec, Bad Luck Albatross.
3 mana shuffle Elec. Yeah. That's a beast. It is a beast.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more tempted there, but like I feel like Reno Hunter just has better ways to build without something that cute.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about this like it's guardian animals, but 2 mana cheaper.
And doesn't give them rush.
Yeah, that's actually kind of huge, right? Yeah. I feel like there's potential here, but I'm not seeing it.
In Wild, you can always Finley to put pieces back in. Maybe that's always something that works every time. I don't know. Like if there's like a Renathal build, right, then I think it makes a little bit more sense because then you're probably more likely to find the spell which you have 2 copies of before you draw a thing. Like I think the math works out there, but I don't know.
So you're Renathal non-Rena then at that point.
Yeah, like a Renathal. yeah, Hound Hunter. You're a Hound Hunter from Standard.
All right, Corb's 2 standard pilled. When was the last time you thought that? All right, whatever.
A little lost in the sauce here.
I think if we're trying to force it this hard, it's probably not a good card, right?
All right, so we went from 2 thumbs up from Druid to on Hunter cards, if that. I'm really excited about all the buffs more than the new cards when it comes to Hunter, at least.
Yeah, Hunter's I don't know. The Hunter of the past is pretty linear. It's going to be a lot of likely a lot of Undertaker style hunters or just like aggressive hunter decks. There wasn't a whole lot of there wasn't the same amount of flexibility that you have in the class that we have now. Maybe you get some secrets in because I think that's where the cloaked huntress might be available. Nope, that's
I think huntress was in
that was Karazhan.
Yeah, Cloaked Huntress was Karazhan, that's what I thought. So, like, you might get a secret hunter thing, but then you lose some of the payoffs, like the... I don't think the 5-mana spell was there yet, so what do you do with all of those secrets other than just have them in play? So it's like, I feel like Hunter's going to be in a bit of an awkward spot. Other than the buff, the Lock and Load Hunter, that's going to be the real juice.
Lock and Load Hunter
would be alright. I think Hunter will be okay. It's a lot of its mid-rangey stuff is a lot better. Like Highman got buffed, Call the Wild is back which was like nerfed in this era. It's like it got Undertaker, like you said. It also has Buzzard, and Like, Buzzard is a unique situation because card draw is very limited in this format.
You're missing the biggest buff of them all. You're missing Ball of Spiders, the thing that's going to make Midrange Hunter tick.
I think Hunter will be very strong. It's just like going to be a fairly linear deck. You're just going to play good cards on curve. It's going to be kind of probably in a similar place to where Paladin is, where you just play good cards on curve, and then you hit the opponent in the face until their hero explodes. It's I think that's just a few of the classes were just kind of did that at this period in Hearthstone. There wasn't people complain about mana cheat, but sometimes it does make things a little bit more engaging and exciting to play.
Gosh. All right, let's move into Mage here. Let's go with another Imposter.
Speaking of not engaging or exciting to play.
Yeah, jeez.
Black Morass Imposter. 2 mana, 2/2. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random 2-cost minion that gains spell damage +1. This feels like it very much wants to be like in a tempo spell-based mage deck, maybe? But then Sork is 4 mana. So, not really sure where this wants to see play. Rather, like in Wild or Twist. Like, it's just very weird.
Sometimes, let me make sure I get the card name right. Sometimes it could turn into a Kobold Geomancer.
2 mana, 2/2 with 2 spell damage?
Wait, does it actually get 2 spell damage, or does it just
it gains spell damage +1?
It gains it.
So I would assume
Roffle,
it
your
was like...
idea is even better, Roffle.
I know. Think of the high roll. Most of the time it is just maybe a better statted Kobold Geomancer, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't sound very appealing in any format.
All right.
I mean, if Spirit Claws was a mage card, then we could be cooking.
So just generate this in Shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's move on quickly to Disco at the End of Time. 6 mana spell. Cast 5 random secrets from the past. At the start of your turn, destroy them. So 5 random secrets from the past does mean secrets that are just wild secrets. And so it's not going to be just secrets that are in Twist. This is going to be any mage secret, including like explosive runes or something like that. That's like fairly recent, or rigged fair game. So they do disappear at the start of your turn, but it is 5 secrets for 6 mana. It's what Glacial Mysteries wanted to be. This is your the Secret Mage support for Crystal Runner.
Oh, I forgot about Crystal Runner.
I mean, this won't work with Crystal Runner.
Yeah, because you're not playing them.
Yeah, but it's for the Secret Mage archetype. This is why they buffed Crystal Runner.
Yeah, but
okay.
So what is the best case scenario here? It's like it's 6 mana. Skip your opponent's turn.
Skip your opponent's turn and you get a rigged fair game. I think that's the
that's like the high roll.
That actually sounds pretty good when you say it that way. But like the variance is what's going to affect that. So it's any secret that's not in standard, right?
It's all secrets, I think. Yeah. Like it can be any wild.
Any secret that's in wild. So it's not limited to the secrets that are in Twist.
Even the standard ones.
Because from the past excludes like in current Hearthstone rules, from the past excludes anything that is standard legal, doesn't it?
I think it's just part of the weird lore that they're doing with this, where it's meant to be in the future, but I don't know.
Are you guys telling me that reading the card doesn't explain the card?
I was gonna say, some clarity on this would be nice. So, like, I know it's a cute way to fit it into the text box, but if you already have an established like phrase that means something, I think you should probably be consistent with that. Either way, the variance on this gives me a little bit of hesitation because there's some pretty bad mage secrets that could get generated, but because you're pulling so many, you're probably likely to get at least 1 or 2 that you need that lock out your opponent for the turn, right? Like there's so much overlap between objection, rig fair game, counterspell.
Yeah, if you just get 6 mana, objection, rigged fair game, 3 terrible secrets, is that worth?
Yes, but all of that assumes that like objection is like
fair. Okay, if you get explosive rigged fair game +3.
No. Because like they can still attack with their board if there's a rigged fair game, right? They can ping. This card doesn't seem very appealing to me the more we like talk it out.
Yeah, I think it's bad. I think it's not good.
It's all making sense why they buffed Crystal Runner then. If this card's not good enough, they needed to give Secret Mage something. It all makes sense.
No, they didn't.
Look, I had to. All right. Let's talk about the last mage card here. We got Chromie Time Hopper. So Chromie is a 6-mana legendary, 4/4. Battle Cry. Visit a historical epoch. Pronunciation is not my strong point. You guys make fun of me, but
I think chat told me it was epoch.
Epoch, like Ewoks, but epochs. Okay.
I don't know.
I thought it was Econ.
God.
That's good. That's going back in time in Hearthstone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You guys let us know down in the comments how to pronounce this. All right, explain it to me via text. But basically, 6-mana 4/4. You visit one of these 4 epochs. We're gonna go with it, and then you shuffle the others into your deck. So these epochs are spells. They are 4-mana spells that have effects. So I'm just gonna read through the 4 here. You have Opening the Dark Portal. I guess another thing. When you shuffle these into your deck, they do automatically cast when drawn, so you're never actually spending the 4 mana on these. Whether that matters or not, who knows? In Twist, I don't know if there's like Deck of Lunacy stuff, but Opening the Dark Portal, get 2 random legendary minions. That's to your hand. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. You have give your minions +2/+2, and then get 2 random spells. So this is like, you get to choose one of the 4, right? You discover one of the 4, and then the other 3 are shuffled in. So you always get the one that you kind of need for the scenario. She is a 6-mana 4/4 though. So 6-mana 4/4, deal 2 damage to everything. Like, seems good. It seems like the one that you're always picking, and the extra 3 are kind of gravy on top.
I think this has a pretty good amount of flexibility. Like, am I crazy for saying this is just kind of an okay card? Probably something that you consider an Arena Mage. Because like the way I look at it, if you're behind, you take Culling of Stratholme and like attempt to fight the way back on the board. If you're ahead, you play Battle for Mount Hijal and buff your board. If you're light on resources, you just pick whether you need spells or minions. You kind of just have an option for almost any situation that you might find yourself in. Obviously, the body isn't great, but like it's a pretty good like flexible toolkit card that wasn't really that prevalent in like the this era of Hearthstone. So like again, is it just fine in like a Reno Mage? I don't know how good Reno Mage is going to be, but it seems okay there.
Yeah, it can be okay in Reno Mage. Like, just take the AoE every time,
Yeah.
right?
I think you're often just going to take the AoE, but like AoE on a body is pretty uncommon in this period of Hearthstone. I think it's okay between this and Flame Leviathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. The downside is like you don't get to control when the other ones happen. So like you might not be in a spot where you can actually make use of the other ones, but like I don't know, the front of this is the only part that you should really evaluate because you don't assume that you draw the other pieces. And I think it seems just kind of fine. Like I'd probably it's maybe Copium, but I'd just play this in any slow mage.
In Twist.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not playing this in Wild. Are you crazy? I mean, I'll play this in Wild because I'm crazy, but like, no, I'm not playing it seriously in Wild.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. Again, it goes back to the lack of value and generation as well in the format. So like anything that does a lot can be pretty valuable for like a grindy arena deck. I don't know. It seems fine to me as well. I think it's all right. It's probably better than you think. Like you look at it, you think it's awful, and then you think about it more, and it's like, that AoE is okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the surface is just like worse than Reno the Relicologist, but only slightly worse. Like 6 mana, 4/4,
like
clear the board.
Much worse.
Well, AoE on a stick, right, for your Arena Mage.
Right.
Like that's what I'm comparing it to. But then it doesn't always just have to go in your Reno deck. You can play this in any sort of like mid-range or slow mage deck, I think it's fine.
Right.
I assure you, there will be one mage deck that is will want this. It is just Reno mage.
Hold on though, because like Battle for Mount Hijal, give your minions +2/+2. That includes Chromie. So like with that, she's a 6-mana 6/6 that buffs your board. Like, isn't that just kind of good?
Worse than Ogre stats though, not
I
good.
mean, I'm not imagining Reno mage being ahead on board very often, but I mean, yes.
But is
like
even in, I don't know, some weird board centric
Belcher? It's like you just got a Belcher up or something.
mech mage.
It's a lot of mana.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have galvanizers, right? In Mech Mage, like Mech Mage is much more board centric and plays like until turn 6, turn 7. In this, because they used to play Boom, right? And sometimes
Sometimes
Rag. I don't remember
Blast
Mech
Mage. The archetype is pretty desperate for cards. I would imagine, just because it literally just has GVG as its options, right? And then some fireballs and frostbolts. Okay, maybe it's getting harder to justify this, but like, I don't know. You don't have the same amounts of mana cheat that you have in our format now. So like, I don't know. It's if you squint hard enough, it's like an Arbor up.
Quartermaster? It's fine.
Yeah, it's a Quartermaster. The Quartermaster was a great card in this era.
Yeah, I think we'll see Chromie a lot more than people are expecting. She just does everything all right, you know, and that like when she does a billion things all right, that means she's probably a pretty good card. It's kind of how I'm looking at her. All right, let's move into Paladin. Let's just directly transition to the other legendary here in Paladin. One very similar to Chromie, and that is Rooney, Time Explorer. So Rooney is a 3-mana 3/4 battle cry. Discover a location from the future. Unlike Secrets from the Past, this is not just a location from Standard Time. These are actual locations that are designed specifically for Rooney. All of these locations are 2 durability locations, and there are 7 of them that you can choose from. So you're not always going to be able to select which one you want, unlike Chromie. But I'm going to read through the random locations here. We have Outskirts of Lordaeron. Choose a minion, destroy all minions with less attack than it. So kind of a board wipe that you get to use twice. Seems pretty good. Windrider Roost, 3 mana, 2 durability. Gain a random 3-cost minion. Give it charge. Or summon a random 3-cost minion, rather. You have Zenidar. Your next battle cry this turn triggers twice. Not really sure what battle cries we're abusing in Paladin. Maybe stuff like Ivory Knight or Quartermaster, maybe. We have Nighthold. Cast 3 random Paladin secrets. Valdraken. Get 2 random dragons with +2/+2. A little bit of value generation. You got Runes of Karun. Draw 2 cards. Swap their cost. Pretty good. And then we have Temple of Earth. Summon or choose a friendly minion. Summon a copy of it with +3 health and taunt that can't attack. So you copy like a Belcher or a Tyrion or something. Then you get 2 of them. Seems pretty good. Guys, I think Rooney might be kind of strong, is the gist that I'm getting. These locations seem really good for a 3-mana legendary minion.
Right. I mean, we talked about the flexibility of Chromie. Like, you're bound to get something that does, and like the value generation available from Chromie. You're bound to get something that's good enough for a given situation from Rooney here. Now, the downside is that you do have to like then play the card from hand, so you discover it into hand, not onto board. So like you still have to expend mana, but like, I mean, you get your mana back in these cases, right? So it's this card, like you, the only one I'm not super like obviously good or high on is the battle cries triggering twice. Like that seems a little bit too situational. But I don't know. Maybe if there's like they're pushing a lot of dragon stuff. Maybe dragons have battle cries. Maybe that's where that wants to go.
Yeah, this guy's pretty broken. Like I'll play it and probably just secret aggro paladin twist. Like in wild as well. You still put it in like Reno paladin. It's like just super good.
Yeah, I'm waiting to play Reno paladin specifically for this card. Like, and I've been itching to play some Reno paladin too. But then I saw this card and I'm like, gotta wait again.
Yeah, this seems like it's gonna be a staple, like in twist decks. Would you say it's gonna just be a staple in wild decks as well?
Just because of the mana expenditure, I'm a little bit, more skeptical of that. Like, I don't know, Reno Paladin just wants to play like good stuff on curve. This kind of like distracts you from doing that a little bit. Replaces itself in hand if it helps you fill out your curve later, though. So it's probably still good enough, but I don't know that I'm willing to call it a staple necessarily in Wild, but almost certainly in Standard. Or Twist, rather.
Let's move into the other two Paladin cards here. I'm going to kind of talk about them in conjunction with each other because they both are pushing hand buff Paladin or Grime Street hand buff Paladin, whatever that synergy was. Let's start with Timeless Blessing. It's a 4-mana holy spell that says give 4 random minions in your hand +4/+4, +3/3, +2/2, and +1/1. So for 4 mana, you were giving 10/10 worth of stats to minions in your hand. Combine that with Bronze Dragon Knight, which is a 4-mana 3/5 dragon battlecry that says 5 or more attack. Summon a copy of this. Hand buff Paladin, are we cooking?
I mean, you do have Mean Streets hand buff, and it did get buffed, but like Mean Streets wasn't necessarily the good part of the hand buff stuff. Like you're missing out on Banana Man in particular is a pretty big deal. You don't have Crystology. You don't have like nearly anything to keep your hand full.
You don't have Rush. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You have Waker Flame though, so who needs Rush, right? You got big taunts. What is Silence?
Look, a lot of people tried to make hand buff Paladin work before we had Rush. it was not very successful. This card is also very, very slow. So even in Wild, I can't ever see this being played because like it doesn't matter if you have Rush if your hero exploded the turn before you get to play the buffed cards. So I don't know. It's a lot of stats though. So maybe it just is played as a card in like pile of minions Paladin decks in Twist. Maybe
Curve's great with Doppelgangster.
Oh, that's legal, right? That was a Mean Streets card. Was it actually?
Yeah.
It was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately the Doppel always hits the +1/+1 and nothing else. So
Unlucky.
Question: do you have to have 4 minions in hand to get the full effect on this, or if you only have a Doppelgangster, can you give your Doppelgangster +10/+10?
I assure you, this is not give a minion +10/+10.
No, yeah, you have. I wonder. It probably goes in the order that the card reads, though. So you'd still get like, 6/6 Doppels if you only have the Doppel in hand. I would imagine, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's probably that part always first. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I think like if Handbuff Paladin just stood by itself as the only deck that got buffs, it would be cooking. But I think with the increased power level of everything, it might be in a little bit of a hurt. Even if it has gotten a lot better. I haven't really tried to build it because I just don't really believe in it. Like without Rush and without the recovery, it's just a little tough to see. But
yeah. I mean, if things are moving slower, though, does it have time to set up? I don't know.
Like if the format is like very Reno heavy or something, then like sure, this could be like a Reno killer. But this is very limited card draw as well. That
I think that's the biggest issue for me is like the lack of Crystology, the lack of card draw. Like you don't have Night of Anointment to draw this. Like you just have like 3 cards in hand on turn 4 because you played the other ones.
Yeah, I'm picturing this as more like a Dragon Paladin deck with a hand buff, like synergy. I mean, because like Dragon Knight is a lot of stats, right? If you could get it to copy Wicker Flame with a bunch of stats, Belcher with a bunch of stats, seems pretty good. So I'm picturing it like it's not going to be kind of like the aggressive deck with chargers that it used to be potentially. I mean, remember Dawn Hunter is 5 mana. He did get buffed by a lot, so I think that they want them to make this work. I'm gonna believe in them. I just don't know how to build it. All right, let's move into Priest here. Again, let's start with the legendary because it's flashy. Murazon, Thief of Time, 7 mana 6/6 dragon, battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, discover a dragon. Deal damage equal to its cost to all other minions. Reno Priest, or I guess Raza Priest in Twist. Seems like it's gonna love this because you're gonna be playing Dragon Package anyways. So So I think this is like an auto-clue if you're playing Raza Priest in Twist. So let's ask the forbidden question of, are you playing this in Wild?
Maybe, probably. I don't know. Like the dragon pool is probably a little bit less reliable in Wild, but I don't know how much you need the board clear, nor like how big you need to make it. So like I don't know. You'll probably try it. Probably worth. It's nobody's running Psychic Scream anymore, so maybe 7 mana board clears just are too slow these days, and I think that's maybe going to be a problem. But like Psychic Scream doesn't come on a body, and having redundancy isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I could see it being run. It will probably not be, one of the better Reno cards, but it'll be really cool in Twist.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like fine in this Reno Priest. I've seen a lot of bad cards in Reno Priest.
You can get away with it.
Yeah, it's fine. Probably a lot closer to like the Kazakas tier though. I mean Kazakas has been cut from like Reno Priest, so
Yeah. That was I almost said the same thing, so I'm glad we're on the same page there.
Yeah. It's also really interesting because a lot of these Reno Priests now are like playing a very minion heavy list anyways, right? And trying to play a lot more for tempo, and this kind of like the opposite of that. So I'd be very surprised if it actually made its way into Reno Priest decks in Wild. A card that I would not be very surprised and will not be surprised when it makes waves in Wild. Ships Chirurgeon. 1 mana 1/2 Dragon Pirate. After you summon a minion, give it +1 health. Heck yeah, 2/3 Brigands and 1/2 Patches. Woo! In Wild, yeah.
Yeah. You know what happened here is I think Blizzard saw like the enormous stat dumps that were happening with like deckhand into Brigand Patches, and they're like, but what if we made it worse? And that's this card. This card on turn 1, even with a single Brigand in hand, is just nasty. As long as you don't draw Patches with this card, it's pretty nasty. And like, ugh, it just makes the board so hard to clear, and like it turns it into almost like an even shaman opener in some regards, and that's repulsive to think about.
yeah, the card's disgusting. They're so dumb with Patches. It's like Shadow Priest has been lagging a little bit behind the other aggro decks in the format, like by quite a bit. So I'm so happy that we've given a couple of significant buffs, because this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted from the Wild 2.0, okay? We were like, oh my god, there's not enough Secret Mage and Shadow Priest in the format. We need to significantly buff them to bring them back in line with the mech decks. That is what the people were demanding. And Blizzard delivered another banger. Once again, another hit. We have a even stronger pirate opener than we could have ever imagined previously. So thank God we have this card. I love 1/2 Patches. I love having 2 of these actually. Imagine having there's 2 of these on the board on turn 1. Like the rest of the game is just over immediately. You're summoning out like 1/5 Void Touch Attendants. God, that sounds fantastic. Is it enough to push pirate decks in Wild in Twist? Shit, man, probably. Like I'm probably gonna play this in my Dragon deck. I'm gonna play like Dragon Priest, except I'm gonna play this in Patches, because you know what's better than like just an Alley Cat with an extra health on each body. So why the hell not?
Guys, I think Corb loves this card. I didn't think he was going to start that comment going off, and then I think he just kind of leaned into it.
I just went for it, man. I just let my emotions take over.
I mean,
you're summarizing the feelings of like a lot of Wild players, so nobody's holding it against you, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like, yes, you're not alone in that, but I feel like also what everybody is missing is the wonderful synergy this has with one Amalgam Band in Wild, and this will finally be the deck. Amalgam Priest is the deck that will prove Matt London right in one Amalgam Band being a contender in a meta deck.
Yes, 7 drops in my deck that's killing people by turn 3. I'm excited for that.
Prophecy has been fulfilled.
Yeah. I've
No.
solved it.
Yeah, I will say, people weren't happy with all the turn 3 aggro decks in the format, so we had to give it more with Shadow Priest. So that's exciting. But
Is it?
it's so exciting, so much fun.
Hold on. One more thing about this. Wasn't there a time where oh, I guess we don't have Radiant Elemental, but there was a time where dragon decks were just kind of Divine Spirit interfering decks, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so that's another fan favorite archetype to lose too is dragon.
Both of those cards are just legal in Twist, so
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we don't need aggro to exist in or like Shadow Priest to exist in Twist for that to be an obnoxious card in it.
Man, Dragon Priest is gonna be so good, but I don't know if Inner Fire without Radiant.
No, it probably won't. But you also don't have like Shadow Visions to find.
You got Confuse as your Bloodlust, bro. You just play Confuse.
Is that legal?
I think so. I think it's like TGT, but I don't know. Nobody's ever talked about Confuse until this expansion.
Right.
Yeah, I have zero trust in you for like identifying whenever any card came out at this point. I'm sorry.
I think it's old. Nobody's just talked about it since forever.
I just googled. It was correct. It is the most TGT
the
card.
one time this episode that I'm going to be correct about it too, and I wasted it on Confuse. God damn it!
I know that is the most TGG card I've ever seen too. Like it's just.
I mean, while we're on the topic of Dragon Priest, I was building some decks over the weekend. Can I tell you how sad I am that we're going back to this era of like Peddler and Nether Spite Historian and Museum Curator without class bonus? And do you know how sad that makes me?
You just broke my heart, dude.
Look, this is a plea to the Blizzard devs. Bring back class bonus, please. Come on.
Forever, and I really wish they would bring it back. I liked playing it in Twist, like the first go around. That was so satisfying, those Discover cards.
And I like playing it in Wild, where the Discover pools are like deep and inconsistent anyway.
Yeah. I feel like we're speaking out to an empty void because I feel like that's never coming back. But it's not going to be the same playing another Spite Historian without the guarantee of getting a Draconid Operative. Like it's just not going to hit the same of playing 4 or 5 of those things in a game. All right, last priest card here. Shadow Word Forbid. Pretty funny card if you ignore the playability of it. So this is a 2-mana shadow spell with tradable. Destroy a 4-attack minion. Corrupt. Destroy all 4-attack minions. The one thing Priest couldn't do during this time was kill 4-attack minions, and now they can. Honestly, I don't know how popular Twilight Drake's going to be, but this can kill a Twilight Drake and Yetis, but Yetis aren't going to be playable. So, the card's not very playable. Azure Drakes are true. That is going to be a popular card. Wait, maybe Forbids? Nah, no way, right? No.
It's truly an exclamation point Priest moment, though.
All right, let's move into Rogue here. Let's start with the legendary, the Scarab Lord. This is a 4-mana 3/3 Battlecry. Summon a 0/2 Gong for your opponent. Combo gain rush. The Gong basically is a 0/2 minion that gets summoned for your opponent. That whenever it takes damage, summon a board full of 1/1s for you. So if you like coin this out on turn 3. You get a 3/3 and 6 1/1s, which seems like a lot of stats for 3 mana. Where do we see this Scarab Lord scene play in both Twist and Wild?
I feel like we at least talked about this a little bit previously, but didn't really like evaluate and find a home for it. I think if Jade Rogue exists, you probably run this. Like most Rogue decks that run minions probably want this, right? That's a lot of, at least in Twist, that's a lot of stats for Twist, right? Like we talked about the dagger curve potential because again you can bang the Gong multiple times, and like daggering into this or dagger on 2 or 3, play this on 4. You don't even need the rush. You just get your full board and you leave the Gong. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I like it in Twist. It's Jade Rogue, whatever minion Rogue people play. Right. Pretty good.
Yeah. Was Kel'Thuzad wasn't around in this time, right? Speaking of times that I don't know when things were released. Okay, just making
That
sure.
was Knights of the Frozen Throne, so just after.
All right. Scarab Lord, not super flashy, but does seem like it's going to be pretty good in Twist. I'm assuming not really playable in Wild because stats.
Well,
and all that.
If my chat has anything to say about it, it'll be very helpful in disrupting those big priest res pools that they're always on about, that matters in the year of our Lord 2023.
I was so sure you were gonna say the rogue quest. I thought that's where that was going.
No.
But of
No,
course,
that-
it's the big priest. Of course,
No,
it's the big
because-
priest.
No, because Quest Rogue actually makes sense, Corb. A board full of 5/5s makes sense. Disrupting a big priest in the current year does not make sense because they don't play res effects.
Poor Roffle viewer. It's getting shade thrown at him right now. All right. We got Mount Hijal Imposter, 4 mana, 4/4. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random 4-cost minion that gains stealth. How excited are you for Organ Greasers with stealth?
God, that's actually a little bit scary, but it's like the one neutral card that you're like, I hit. Again, like these are so unreliable, and you just want to play them on curve, so you kind of just stuck with whatever you get, right? Like these feel somehow like arena cards outside of arena that like are Caverns of Time being included in arena? I don't know.
I don't know that we've gotten confirmation on that, but
right, the lack of reliability on these is I do not.
I imagine top decking this on 4 and you just played a 4 mana 4/4 with no text because it doesn't transform when you top deck it.
Oh
So
god, that's even
I'm assuming
It
they
doesn't
don't
even have to
transform
stealth.
when you draw them, but yeah.
I don't know. Like we'd have to compare this text to like Banter Smosh.
Poor imposters. All of them feel very mid / bad. Let's talk about a good card. Let's talk about Jade Telegram. The third Jade card is finally here, and it seems really, really good. Jade Telegram is a 3 mana spell that says look at 3 cards in your opponent's hand and shuffle one of them into your deck. Summon a Jade Golem. So kind of the Ghastly Gravedigger effect, or I don't know if that's the name of the card, but the secret card for
sure
Rogue.
is.
And it shuffles a card from its Disruption in Twist. Let's go. But also Jade's. Reminder that they also buffed Jade Swarmer to a 1 mana 1/1. So Jade Rogue looking kind of hot.
They also buffed Jade Shuriken. So like actually a good card, both of them. And this hands down my favorite card of the set and favorite card of any Jade card. I have an addiction to playing Ghastly Gravedigger repeatedly to the point of being detrimental to both my health and my win rate. And I'm going to do the same with Jade Telegram. I just want to know how many different ways I can copy this so that I can play it as many times as possible. Unfortunately, in Twist, that's not very many times.
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. Cards are really good. I don't know if like Jade Rogue needs a ton more help with, like in Twist terms, like in terms of beating combo. Like combo isn't really that much of a thing, and you're probably ideally beating down the Reno slower stuff anyway. But I don't know. Cards are very, very solid. I don't know. like this isn't really the reason why I'd be super excited for Jade cards, but just like having a card that says Jade text on it is a good thing as well, just because they all are parasitic and help each other out. Yeah.
So I mean, just finally having the density by having the third Jade card probably helps a lot when it comes to building a Jade deck.
Yeah. Like I still have very big concerns about Jade Rogue because the whole like dying to aggro thing is an issue.
Right.
But it might be like it's probably going to be better than people think. Like it'll be quite solid as like a control killer for sure.
Yeah, that's just kind of an issue for Rogue in general, in this era in particular. So, that's not going to go away. People are going to play massive greed biles like the first week or two in this format. So like it's Jade Rogue's going to look good out of the gate and probably like slow down and.
Yeah. The thing about Jade Rogue in general is that you've actually got fantastic AoE, where you have the Dark Iron Skulker at 4 now, and then you also have buffed Fan of Knives. Like you have like really strong early AoE. The problem is that like Death Spite pointed at your head. like, like you don't really have taunts or healing, so it's like yeah, certain types of matchups are gonna still be really bad, but like generic board-based stuff is probably gonna be okay. But we'll see. Like Pirate Warrior is very scary and like aggro Shaman, but Shaman has its own issues going on, so I don't even know what Shaman's gonna do now without the spell totem. But
We can do the old school
Warrior.
thing of heal bot, shadow step your heal bot, play it again. Like that's your healing right there.
Dark timeline, man. You don't want to go down that path.
Look, if you're desperate for healing, you got options. That's all I'm saying.
No, you don't.
They're not very good options, but you do have options. All right, let's move into Shaman here. Flashy Legendary. Let's talk about it. We got Alakir, the Winds of Time. This is a 7-mana hero card for Shaman. Battlecry. Gain charge, Divine Shield, Taunt, and draw a charged Divine Shield, Taunt, and Wind Fury minion. So this is kind of along the same lines of Ashmore and Curator and all those kinds of cards, but it's on a hero card, and it does all the keywords that, Alakir is, because, like flavor and stuff. And then your hero power, 2 mana, gain Divine Shield. This is Divine Shield that will carry over. Like you can press your hero power and maintain Divine Shield into your opponent's turn if you would like. But then you also gain +2 attack and Wind Fury for that turn. So, I mean, super flavorful for everything like Alakir. If you guys want a little bit of insight, shout outs to the Born to Be Wild peeps. They also got a dev interview where they talked a little bit about the design for Alakir. Worth listening if you guys are interested in that. Alakir's super flavorful. Very concerned about where this is going to see play, to be honest with you, though. Because I don't know that you have great options for that Battlecry. I mean, that hero power might just be a win con on its own, though, if you're playing like a super slow Shaman deck.
Right. I think, at the very least in Twist, if there is a slow Shaman deck, it's going to run this card simply for the hero power. Maybe it like runs some taunts or something just as like an afterthought for the battle cry. But like, I mean, that's a pretty nasty hero power in this era of Hearthstone. Like I even saw Martian considering just like this as a Shudderwalk replacement in Shudderwalk Shaman just to like get people because you're less reliant on the Shudderwalk. I don't know if that's going to be faster or better than Brucan is right now. It kind of serves a similar purpose, and so I'm not sold on that, but like it's a really good hero power. And I wasn't even considering the fact that the Divine Shield carries over. Like that's a really good hero power. That just kind of it's 4 damage every turn, right? At minimum. That gets people pretty quick. I think people look at Cariel and they often see like the damage reduction, not really appreciating just how much she like gets people for 2 damage every turn. And granted, you do have to spend the mana for this, but like you're getting twice as much damage. So like you just kind of get people if you're playing a slow grindy mirror match, which again could be prevalent, especially early on in the format.
Yeah, I'm a little interested in this for Wild, just because it's a third copy a lot of the time of like the hammer, the Wind Fury hammer. So if you are building around that that package with the hero buff cards, then it's quite good. Play this on 7, kill them on 8. I like that. In Twist, I don't know. It's weird. Like the minions that you have to pick from with these keywords are generally pretty awful. Like Wind Fury, kind of horrific. You do have stuff like Argent Horse Rider, which isn't a bad option for like both the charge and Divine Shield. So being able to double up on stuff like that is okay. And again, as we keep coming back to card draw, premium, kind of important. So it's kind of like there's some good stuff going for it. I do, in like a Jade Shaman deck, I do wonder whether you really need the lethality when you're already pummeling people with Jade so much. So like the late game, the need for over-the-top damage like this is a little questionable, but I don't know. I probably don't want to underestimate the hero power because like there's not much else that exists like this in that format. Being able to just bonk people and also maintaining that Divine Shield and reducing, like, invalidating like a hunter hero power, right? Like that can be a very big deal. So, not sure. Will like, even though I'm skeptical, I will edge towards like it's probably better than I think because it's a hero card.
Yeah.
So
We didn't have cards that just kind of had like inevitable value during this time, and then like the hero power kind of gives you that like longevity, inevitability. I think is the word I was looking for there. Also for the battle cry, we do have newly buffed or recently buffed Alec here himself, like the minion, where you got buffed to a 3/6, which like satisfies all of these. I mean, you're probably playing it. I don't know. I think the battle cry don't really need to over-index your deck list to satisfy that, or I feel like if it's just drawing you like 2 cards, it's probably okay. And that hero power is kind of the main thing that you're playing for with this. But I'm interested. I'm going to be playing in some Jade Shaman potentially. I'll be playing it. I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys remember Crusher Shaman from back in the day, like the Death Rattle style of deck. And so I'm excited to mess around with this card. It's interesting that they gave a hero card during this time because those didn't exist. So kind of interesting that they went this route. All right. The other shaman cards. All right, go ahead.
one exists now, Meowth. Another one.
Yeah, Juramicus is still there.
Oh, that's right. Jiraxis is. Wait, that's actually so huge.
Yeah.
So and you can't get sack packed anymore. Oh, it's insane. Wait. I'm so excited for Arena Lock, but we'll get to that. The other shaman cards here. Let's start with the even shaman buff that was totally needed, right? I don't even know if this is playing even shaman, but totally totems. 4-mana spell. Summon all 5 basic totems. Overload 1. So for those of you guys that are not boomers like the 3 of us, the 5th totem here is Wrath of Air totem. So spell damage totem used to exist. It was kind of gross, but they're bringing it back for this card. Twist Totem Shaman probably wants this. I don't know how real of a deck like Totem Shaman or Midrange Shaman is. I know they buffed like Thunderbluff Valiant and things like that. I mean, let's start talking about the big elephant in the room of Even Shaman and Wild. Already kind of a top tier deck. Does this make the cut in that?
It's certainly tempting just because of the Giga Totem and like Stonewright Totemic Surge type. Like your totems are legitimate threats in Even Shaman. They're on site. Like when I'm playing against it, like it's just I don't care if it's a 0/2 now. I know what it's going to be soon. So I'm not discounting this card. The concern is that it's a little slow at 4 mana. It's the only thing. But if you can spend 4 mana on turn 4 and then also play a Giga Totem behind it as a result of this, that's a little bit more appealing. So like I don't know. It's one that I think we'll probably have to play with and see a little bit, just because 5 like that legitimately gets your Giga Totem online. Like I think From Below is probably already online or pretty close at this point, but it pretty much single handedly gets you down to 0 mana 8/8. So if it's a matter of whether that's like strong enough and reliable enough to justify the card. Something important to consider is that like during the Karazhan era, like Totem Shaman was one of the strongest decks in the history of Hearthstone, like with the Thunderbluff Valiant too. So like I wouldn't necessarily discount this card in Twist as well. There's certainly some potential there. They did rely pretty heavily on the Spirit Clause, which is no longer a thing. So I don't know if it'll be.
It can be with this.
No. If this is the only way to generate spell damage totem, it's not going to be. But so like I don't know. It's tough to evaluate. There's so many good cards in Even Shaman right now, and that's why it's such a good deck.
Yeah, I think it probably gets it into Even Shaman. It's expensive, but it's a board in the box. A threatening board. Like it's a threatening board. They might just be totems, but I think it's probably good enough for Even Shaman. Like, but carrying a tiny little bit of dead weight, like a tiny little bit, like maybe 1 copy of Wind Fury, maybe the Frostbites. Like it's close. But yeah, I think it's a lot. Like if I'm playing like Reno Priest, right? Like I spend all this, like I clear off the opponent's board and the Even Shaman, and they play this. It's like, oh my god, they just did it all again. It was 1 card, so it's very, very imposing for just for that. But in terms of Twist, it's actually like a huge deal for Twist.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's just a thing from below to 0, basically. Kind of a huge deal.
Forgot that card was legal. Oh, I just can't escape Totem Shaman.
So like in Gadget Sand, like Totem Shaman wasn't really a thing. Players geared way more towards the aggro stuff. But I think with this and some of the changes to Shaman, like I can definitely see a Totem deck working. So yeah, we'll see.
Between totems and jades, like you just like always flooding the board, always threatening kills with
Well,
bloodlust.
I think they're probably two different decks.
Okay.
Like I think Jade. Well,
I mean, you probably just shove
I
the
say,
jade
I
package
say
everywhere.
that you probably just shove the Jade package in. Like,
Yeah, we used to
Um,
run Jades and Even Shaman.
yeah.
Those were the
Yep,
days,
and
Jades
aggro
and Even
Shaman.
Shaman. Back
Yeah.
when Even Shaman was fun and balanced, you know? I say that. It was not balanced on release. Um, question for you guys. I'm like staring at the overload of this card and I'm thinking about Golganeth and like the draw option and things like that. Does Golganeth count as a charge minion for Alakir? Because he can use his
No.
ability the turn he comes down.
No,
Are you
No.
sure?
It better not.
it does not count.
What if,
No,
what if
I
he's
think
just
he needs-
coated with charge, just not on the card?
Well, even if he is, like he needs. I think he needs the text on the card because I've had weird interactions with like old Cthulhu when I gave him taunt. So I don't know.
Spoiler alert, it does from people that have been playing Cthunes in Wild. The Cthulhu changes are now permanent buffs on him, so you would be
Right.
able to draw the Cthulhu now once you gave it taunt.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try it for myself because somebody told me that exact thing before I tried it and it failed and I look like an idiot in front of,
Alright.
you know,
And more
hundreds
no,
of people.
More, I was gonna say more so than normal, but you know, come on,
Yeah.
when with some of the decks you play.
Yeah, but my job is to look like an idiot, Meowth. I'm aware of that.
All right. As long as you don't feel bad for me saying that. Last but not least for Shaman, we got Pebbly Page. 2-mana 2/1 elemental battlecry. Draw an overload card. You get bonus on top of that. You can't be overloaded this turn. So I mean, just on the front, 2-mana 2/1 that draws you an overload card. Kind of just good on its own. And then I want to say upside. I don't know if that's upside in Wild. Because you kind of want to do the overloading thing in Wild, but in Twist, you get the upside of you can't be overloaded this turn when you are doing some sort of pop off. I don't know what that pop off is, but you're doing maybe some pop off.
You're not doing any pop off. like the upside is that you play this, you get a Jade clause, and you play it on 4. Like you play them together on 4. Like I don't know, it's quite good in Twist, I think, because Jade clause and scaling, tutoring Jades is good. Wild, I don't think it sees play anywhere. I don't think so.
No, I'm in agreement there. We've also talked pretty heavily about like the lack of card generation and draw in Twist era. So anything that gets cards moving in your deck is going to be welcome, especially targeted tutor like this.
All right. Any wild potential for this one? Are you playing this in like Frog Shaman?
Mm-mm.
No. All right. All right. Let's move to Warlock. Let's talk about the big busted card. That is Chamber of Viscidus. 2 mana, 3 durability. Look at 3 cards in your hand and choose one to discard. Draw 2 cards.
What a silly card. Read the actual one.
Yeah, look at 3
Alright.
cards in your hand, choose a Fell Barrage, and
Draw 2 cards. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. You do not hear me wrong. As much as Corb wants you to think that this card is it's a thing. It's kind of busted. Wild twist. All of the above. Honestly, somebody brought up the point of like you probably are just playing this in decks that are not just pure discard decks because you just get rid of the useless AoE spell against the OTK deck and draw 2 cards. Like this. It's so much selection. It's so much draw. It's so insane.
Yeah, it's like there's a 3 mana card that does this, but then you pay 2 mana to do this, and
3 times.
you get to do it 3 times. Why does this have 3 durability? Why does it only cost 2 mana? Like we like
This would be busted if it just had 2 durability, but it has 3.
yeah. No, this. I don't want to play against Discard Warlock again, man. Like that was not a fun era. I don't want to play as Discard Warlock because it's frustrating. It's a good card. It's going to bring Disco Lock back, probably in both formats because like you have the Karazhan stuff, which is where Discard originated, and they buffed some of the discard cards for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, discard didn't really exist in Gadget, but they pushed some stuff And then they have things like the new Demon Fuse, so like that's really good with Malkimp and Flame Imp and Void Walker, and Patches is a demon now, so that's fun. So yeah, it got a lot better, and I think it'll be a deck in Twist, maybe, probably, and then in Wild, probably gonna be tier 1. It's probably gonna be the best deck in the format. You know when the Heroic Tavern comes out on like the 6th? I think Disco Lock is gonna be the best deck in the format. So that's where we're at. It's already quite solid after the buffs that they made, so very excited about that. And this is gonna be the best card in Disco Lock. So that's neat.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was expecting more of a soapbox rant like you were with the priest card, but
Well, I feel like the priest one, I kind of just let it all out. This one, I'm just like, hey, I don't know. I'm just confused almost. Like you know what? Like it's like I've been like sucker punched. Like I'm stun locked me out at what's going on here because I don't get it. Like what are we doing?
It's pretty incredible that. It's like they hand selected 3 of the 4, if you count even Shaman, of the like most hated decks that have ever existed in Wild, and then buffed them
For the Wild set.
for the Wild set. Yeah, like
Not the Twist, the Wild set, guys. It's for the Wild. Remember?
right. So I mean, what basically,
right, yeah.
basically what that comes down to is, like, I think I mentioned this in our vent session on the previous episode, but like you just have 2 formats that are like in direct antagonism with Wild right now. Like it's Wild is just kind of taking it from both ends. It's getting like okay fun cards nerfed as a result of Standard, and it's getting like it's getting archetypes that nobody really cares for bolstered as a result of like the Twist set.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sometimes in favor of doing the dumb, super broken thing. Like, I've spoken about this before. Like, I tend to not always hate that. And if the dumb, broken thing is going to be Discard Warlock, I'm probably realistically going to personally enjoy that more than if the broken deck is Mech Paladin. Like, I will probably have an okay time with Tier 0 Disco Lock. That does, like, it's super unhealthy though. Like it's like it's so stupid. Like if this, it's just ridiculous that it's being pushed this hard. Like the best cards right now, like Disco Lock is already looking like Tier 2. Like now, like right now. And the best cards in the deck is like Dark Bargain, right? Because having mass discard is super important, and this is like this triple targeted discard. Like this is insane. This card is so stupid. It's gonna be the best thing. It's gonna be the best thing.
Yeah. I'm not gonna add too much to this because I gotta be careful of what I say. But like Silver Linings, they said that they were gonna keep a close eye on these new cards and do balance changes if needed. I don't know how much they're gonna be looking at Wild when it comes to those balance changes. I'm not sure what their focus is gonna be. Like if this card is like perfectly balanced and Discard Warlock's like fine in Twist, I'm like. I don't know if they'll do anything, but this card's insane. This card, it feels like if they leave this in this state, this is going to be up there with like Kobold Librarian, Defile levels of like auto include in every Warlock deck. Like even those Reno Lock decks, like you're playing this card. Like this card does so much, and just the last note, like the Discard Warlock buffs. It's such an unfun archetype. Like it's up there with Secret Mage. Like frustrating to play against. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next card. And that is Witch of the Archthief. 4 mana for a 2/4. Battlecry. Summon a 1/3 Voidwalker with Taunt. If your opponent has more minions, repeat. 4 mana Spreading Plague. I mean, you're summoning 1/3s instead of 1/5s. But 4 mana Spreading Plague with a body. Reno Lock loves this. Even Lock loves this. Like, I think this is a solid card. I think it's a solid card.
I don't think Even Lock loves this. I do think that like other.
Right.
I think I'd rather play this. Would I play this over something like Demonic Assault in Wild Even Lock?
Demonic Assault goes face.
Do go fast.
But this has a lot more taunt. I don't know. Regardless.
Yeah.
I think this is a solid card. Is the point.
I think. Yeah, it's a good card. It doesn't matter. Like I think it's a little bit too slow. Like, it doesn't make 8/8s, so I don't know if you run it in even lock unless you're like doing an even Reno lock. But like, it's a good card. Probably a pretty good card in Twist as well, and probably something that makes you like more excited than you already were about playing Reno lock in Twist because you don't have to vial in the format. So. Like,
Yeah, Reno Lock has just tons of really sick upgrades compared to what it previously had. Like we already talked about Lord J, like Jiraxis being the hero card is so huge, but I don't know, you just kind of go through there's like a whole bunch of neat stuff with that. And there's off package with small things like Belcher with this. Dark Bomb is great, Hellfire. The deck really lacked AoE previously in that early stuff. So having like this, Hellfire just helps mitigate the aggro so hard, and then you get the location, so that's neat. So it's got a whole bunch of really cool stuff that you want to try. So Meowth, no matter how you feel about the location and some of the other Warlock stuff going on, be excited. You're probably gonna really have a good time with Twist Reno.
Oh, I already know that I'm doing nothing but playing Reno Lock like the first like day or two of the expansion, because I mean this arrow was like what got me into Reno Lock, and like I have played, probably not an exaggeration, like 2,000 or 3,000 games of this version of this deck. And so I'm excited to go back, even if it's not going to be the same, because it's going to feel different playing this location instead of just tapping forever. You also don't get Dark Peddler class bonus, but I'm excited. Reno Lock's going to be sweet. And I think this 2/4 is going to be just like a solid card in that deck. I don't know about this next one here. Let's talk about Cho'Gall. Reworked Cho'Gall. I don't even remember what exactly it was. I know it was like a 7-mana 7/7. Something about your next spell costing health instead of mana or something like that. It was like Blood Bloom on a body. I do not know if that's correct, but
sounds close.
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah. But now, it is an 8-mana 8/8 battle cry. Return all cards you've discarded this game to your hand. They cost health instead of mana. That is they cost health instead of mana for the rest of the game.
All right. The Wombo combo. You just play Expired Merchant to hit this. And then
is that infinite value?
That's infinite value.
Wow.
And then you take 32 damage and you die.
Yeah. But infinite value.
True.
We do know how Hearthstone players love that infinite value.
True. Do you, like, we're talking about Reno Lock, do you just play the location and this in that deck and then
I'm thinking maybe
probably yeah.
And then you just win?
Yeah, just discard Reno tactically, and then
right.
you know.
Like, or just like you don't even need to discard him. You just save like the health costume.
Well, I want
cards.
to play him on the same turn. That's the thing. I want to be able to go like Cho'Gall, card, Reno, bam, gotcha.
Right. But I mean, you could also just go Cho'Gall the next turn, card, Reno.
That also works, yeah. But no, I think it's pretty decent with the location. I don't know if you have enough other cards that discard to really make it.
Maybe play Dark Bargain in that deck.
Yeah, Dark Bargain doesn't sound terrible, but like I don't think you need that much more, right?
Maybe you
like,
maybe it's just location. Maybe it's fine.
Yeah,
like,
eight mana, add 3 cards to hand for free that do not cost mana to play.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah,
and you've drawn 6 cards for your trouble, so
right.
I think there'll be some like cute things that people are probably going to try to do with Expired Merchant, because I know back in the day you had Soul Warden that you could do something similar with, where like you would discard something with Soul Warden, or and then get it back with like you would discard Soul Warden and something else, and then you would basically have infinite Soul Wardens. I could see somebody trying to do something like that with Cho'Gall. I don't think it's necessary though. I think you just play this as like a.
You die if you do that. So
yeah.
like
well, if you discard like a heal bot alongside it, then you don't necessarily do. I don't know. Whatever. I think this is probably just a solid card. Like if you play location plus this in Reno Lock, like you're set. Like you don't need to do much else. But yeah. Yeah, Warlock set, guys. How are we rating the Warlock set compared to everything else?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. Up there with Druid.
Yeah. Like, it's probably right there behind Druid, yeah. Its location has an extra durability as well.
That makes it better, right? 3 greater than 2. All right, let's move into Warrior. Let's talk about Blast from the Past. Love this card. 3 mana, gain 2 spare parts, summon 2 1/1 boombots, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. Quite literally a blast from the past. That's why I love this card, like flavor wise. Is it actually good though?
No.
A bit adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems really bad.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, no, like it's better than Boom Scheme at least.
That's not a very high
A
bar.
high bar.
All right, let's talk about Ivory Rook. Finally, the
Thank
Rook
God.
getting its
Yes.
card.
So exciting that we got the Rook here.
4 mana, 4/4. Battle Cry. Discover a taunt minion. Gain armor equal to its cost. Very Ivory Knight in the flavor, but you're getting a taunt minion and getting armor. So, honestly, probably a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
Probably a very good twist card. Now,
Yep.
could this be one of those bad cards that we shove into even warrior in wild? Because it does have an even mana cost and it gains armor.
Yeah, probably not getting an even war in wild, but the twist thing, yeah, I mean probably.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys know that there's not much card draw or discover in the twist format? So
Never heard that before.
Wow, what a concept. Yeah.
Yeah, control warrior probably will be played. So why not play this card?
Yeah, there were 2 versions of Control Warrior back in these days, right? Cthulhu and N'Zoth, and I think both of them
Yeah,
probably
well,
want something
by the
like
time
this.
by the time we got to N'Zoth, Cthulhu was dead, but we've buffed Cthulhu, but Cthulhu is probably still dead.
Well, we buffed the armor card. I don't even know the name of it. Ancient Shieldbearer.
There's also the I know the discover pools aren't that broad, but you could get Twin Veclor, Twin Emperor Veclor, and the new eye stalk of Cthulhu in the Cthulhu version. Off of
Kinda
this, that has taunt. Getting
Problem
extra
with
copies
the
of that.
Cthulhu N'Zoth thing is sometimes if the opponent plays N'Zoth, I guess you brawl. Ugh. I hate playing brawl.
Everybody hates playing brawl except my opponents.
All right. Ivory Rook might not make it into Wild Even Warrior, but what about our next card here? And that is newly reworked Hobart Grapplehammer. He is a 4 mana 2/2 battle cry. If you have a weapon equipped, give all minions in your hand and deck +2/+2.
I've heard this is one of the powerhouses of Even Warrior, actually.
It is a lot of stats. I'll give you that. It looks like a really strong or potentially strong twist card.
Agreed.
It's your hand
Like
buff
the
warrior
stats.
stats, baby.
The stats do be a lot. It's a very silly effect.
Right, and it's a format with N'Zoth's First Mate in it, and if N'Zoth's First Mate exists in this era, you run it.
Are you picturing maybe something like Dragon Warrior, which plays First Mate, War Axe, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
even
could
a
see
Death
it.
Bite.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's big numbers. And there's again, we haven't talked about the neutral cards yet, but there's some interesting dragon synergies that could make you consider it.
It's this more expensive situational big payoff Keloseth.
Right.
So minion dense deck, but you need to also have the weapons, which makes First Mate such a nice pairing with it. So yeah, I mean you just put it in a minion pile and hope you have a weapon, and I mean it does hit minions in hand as well, so I guess that's quite different. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Fiery War Axing and Death Spiting in every warrior deck in this time, right? So you're probably gonna have a weapon equipped.
Right.
So
I think you have all 3 of those. You have First Mate, you have War Axe, and you have Death Spite, and just
every deck.
every warrior deck that exists. I was just contemplating whether or not you put Hobart in Pirate Warrior, which I don't know the answer to.
It's not a pirate. If he was a pirate, I'd actually be interested. But
I don't think so, because you have so few cards in hand. You have such limited card draw. You have a lot of weapons. Probably not. Dragon Warrior. Yeah.
Dude, Alex Shaw's Champion was around this time, right? So yeah. I'm liking it. All right, let's move into our neutrals. We have 9 neutrals to talk about. We're almost done, guys. Lots of new cards. Shark Puncher, 2 mana 2/2 pirate, Death Rattle. Give a random friendly pirate +2/+2. Seems solid in your pirate decks, whatever pirate deck you're playing.
Yeah, you don't have the density of quality pirates that you have now, so
you need all the help.
You probably just grab a pirate and throw it in there.
Also, the art on this card's really funny. So you play that.
That's what I was laughing at.
All right, we got Timeline Accelerator, 3 mana 2/2 mech, Battlecry, draw a mech, it costs 2 less. You can use this to tutor your what is the card? The Flame Leviathan in your Twist Reno Mage. It's basically the same thing as Leaf Lord Gateway.
That's actually really good.
I also didn't see this card before, and it seems pretty just generally okay, right? Like even in maybe in a mech deck, like Mech Hunter's probably okay with this, isn't it?
They didn't have all the
in-
bomb stuff in Mech
In
Hunter.
Twist or
Yeah,
just Twist, right? Yeah,
in
yeah.
Twist. Oh no, I'm not. You don't consider
Yeah,
this
yeah.
card in Wild at all. No, like,
Yeah, okay.
you've got enough mana cheat. You've got enough card draw in all of the mech decks. But like Mech Hunter was a real thing in like Twist era, wasn't it?
I feel like it wasn't really a thing in Wild, at least until Boomsday, but I might be misremembering.
Well, I think like just vanilla, like before Wild even existed, wasn't it?
Like Gad. I mean,
GVG.
Gadgetzan, it wasn't a thing, but JVG, I guess. I don't know. Even I wasn't around JVG. I'm not that old. Jesus.
I am.
I was, and I
am.
don't remember. We're actually boomers. Don't
Right.
remember those days.
All right, I've got the payoff. You get it for Fel Reaver. To
Look.
to discount your sick treachery combo.
No, people forget Fel Reaver was a powerhouse card in GVG mech decks. Like sincerely, like a lot of people meme on it, but like it was a single card win the game. If you could play this, if you could play a Fel Reaver on turn 4 in this format, in Mech Shaman, maybe you just win. Like
I actually forgot
what
about
if
Mech Shaman.
what if you go Coin Mech Warper into Timeline Accelerator into Fel Reaver into win the game? Like, what if that just ends it?
There are
because-
so many
because-
cards that end it. With this.
Right, well, because sincerely, like an Onker Fel Reaver used to just end it in that in that deck.
This was the era of 4-mana 7/7. I think people are forgetting that, where powerhouse 4-mana 7/7 in Shaman. So
Yeah, and that's a 4-mana 8/8 if you have a Mech Warper.
true.
What do we think about Iron Juggernaut? Yeah, the curve is sublime.
I think that all of these conversations are making the Flame Leviathan sound a lot better.
Flame Leviathan idea is like strong. I think.
Yeah.
I was just memeing, but I'm glad I'm on to something here.
I mean, come on, dude! It's a 3-mana consecration with a 2/2, and you get a 5-mana 7/7 rush.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems really good to me.
I was unintentionally cooking. Let's go.
Yeah.
Didn't even know I was doing it. All right, let's move on to Future Emissary. This is a 4-mana 4/4 dragon. Battlecry. Reduce the cost of all dragons in your hand by 1. Give them +1/+1. This card seems pretty good with the dragon decks. It's like an Emperor Thorson for your dragons, as well as for some reason buffing them. If you're playing a dragon deck in Twist, you should probably play 2 of these in your deck.
That
Or
makes
1
sense
if
to
it's a
me.
Reno deck.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You can get away with playing 2 of these in your arena deck. Come on.
Don't be that guy.
Card's good. Yeah.
It's a good card. If you're running dragons, you run this card. Is the moral of the story.
All right. We have 2 Battlegrounds cards making their debut in Constructed. You got Menagerie Mug and Menagerie Jug. Mug is a 3-mana 2/2 that gives 3 friendly minions of different minion types +1/+1. The Jug is a 5-mana 3/3. Give 3 friendly minions of random or different minion types +2/+2. We didn't have amalgams back in this time, right? So this is like you have to go out of your way to play 3 different minion types here.
Right. We legitimately had both of these cards before, though, in Zubot and Menagerie Warden. So
Well, but they were specific.
But okay, but now you have 8 of those effects for your Menagerie deck, and without a buffed curator, which is kind of sad actually.
Right.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
trust me, I've tried. I've tried all of those cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a format that will want these cards.
Also,
Other
I
than
just completely
Battlegrounds.
lied. By the way, we do have an amalgam coming up, but
We do.
Oh yeah, true.
I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to spoil another thing.
I didn't look forward. Whatever. Infinite Amalgam. 4-mana 2/4. It's an amalgam. It's got all minion types. A billion keywords on it. Inspire, Frenzy, Spellburst, Honorable Kill, and Overkill. Summon a random 1-cost minion. Excuse me. That's a lot of keywords and
Yeah.
potentially a lot of summoning of random one cost.
That is a billion keywords, my god. It's just every keyword, right? Other than Battlecry and Death Rattle. Like, it's all of the expansion specific keywords, or very nearly all of them. Still probably not a good card though, right? Like, it's a 4-mana 4/2.
I mean, if you're buffing it like that, you're summoning a lot of minions. If you get this to like stick and then you buff it, it does a lot. I don't know how you're getting it to stick, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny where it can just become just like set up an entire board off one attack. So I don't know. It's cute. It's probably not very good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird card, man. When cards get this weird, it's like I don't know how to evaluate stuff.
I'm sure somebody out there is going to try out like a zoo deck, like playing. Okay, that was an unintentional comment on like Zoobot, like Menagerie Warden. But between those two and Menagerie Mug and Jug, I think somebody's going to try some sort of like board-based zoo deck playing all of these. And if you do, let us know how it goes because I'm interested. I just also want to kind of see Infinite Malcolm actually do something. So
something to consider for that though is we haven't really seen a world this era of Hearthstone with the dual minion type cards too, like Patches being a demon as well as a pirate could change some stuff. Maybe the Amalgam Priest actually does end it.
All right, let's move on to our last three cards here. We've got I Suck at Cthulhu, which Roffle, spoiled earlier. How dare you? Actually, this was spoiled in the teaser, so yeah, we'll give you a little bit of slack. But 4-mana 1/1 taunt lifesteal. Whenever your Cthulhu gains attack or health, this does too. I don't really know how much there is to talk about this. If you're playing a Cthulhu deck, you're playing two of these in your deck.
Yeah, this is the same as the 4-mana dragon.
Yeah. All right, we've got Volstan Staghelm. This is a 6-mana 3/6 legendary death rattle. Summon a taunt minion from your deck. So if you're playing in a Zoth deck, you're probably playing this because this just immediately summons your Belchers out of your deck. It's just kind of like layers and layers of threats, which is kind of cute. I don't know if there's like additional synergy. I mean, it summons a Tyrion, I guess. That's kind of synergy all on its own. Summons an Alec here. It doesn't have taunt on itself. It is just a 6-mana 3/6 vanilla. But if you trigger that death rattle, it can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, Recruit has been pretty strong over the years. I don't know. A lot of Reno decks are going to be running Belchers, right? And a lot of them are also a lot of slow decks are probably going to be running as Zoth, so there's definitely some potential here. Like the thing is that like he's so bad when the turn you play him, so he's so slow developing, so you better get something good out of him.
Yeah, you're looking for like a game winner. Tyrion is definitely the goal. Like if you got Belcher, like I'm not really sure if that's quite enough payoff. It does layer, like if you have enough taunt cards as well though, I guess. It does kind of layer your N'Zoth turn, so like if they board wipe it, they might just die again, which is always fun. When you weave in some shredders and some little sludge belcher tokens, that can be very annoying to clean up. But yeah, I don't really know if we have like super big taunt payoffs or anything. Like I'm kind of flipping through and I don't really see much beyond the Tyrion.
I mean, it seems like Tyrion and Alec are like the two ones that come to mind immediately. I don't know that I keep talking about this Alakir card. It was like really good back in the day. I don't know if it's good enough now, but
you do have Sogoth the Slitherer. Like that could end it. That could be good.
Oh god, we're talking about Sogoth. That means it's time to move on. To Sori Dormi. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, but we're gonna go with it. 5-mana 8/8 dragon. That's insane. Except for the fact that it starts dormant for 2 turns. But when this awakens, reduce the cost of all dragons in your hand by 4. That sounds like a 5-mana Malagos to me. I don't know what we're doing with a 5-mana Malagos, but that's a 5-mana Malagos.
Yeah, just don't die.
Yeah, so simple.
Just don't die, huh? Dying thing is kind of tricky.
Yeah,
but
Ice Block was legal during this period, right?
Yeah, so being able to discount like an Alexstrasza in like something like Freeze Mage, that could be a thing.
I was even just gonna say Malagos.
Or just Mally. Or both.
Yeah.
You know what? Both. Screw it.
Yeah.
We'll do both.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
That's how you get around the armor for Control Warrior. Easy. asking about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of mana reduction. So I'm never like again in a format where mana cheat wasn't prevalent. Things might be slower developing. Maybe you have the time to play a 5-mana 8/8 in a dragon
Well,
deck outside of a combo.
Now we have the 5-mana Thorsan, so I don't know about this whole limited mana cheating thing. I mean, 5-mana Thor in Priest Mage is actually going to be very good. So.
I'm excited about that. But, all right. That's all the new cards. That is the 36 new cards that we've talked about in an hour and a half. I'm proud of us. Only an hour and a half. All right, so wrap it up. How are we feeling about new cards in general? We'll start small.
Yeah. I think this is a really exciting set of cards for the Twist format. In all seriousness though, like this is probably the thing I'm looking forward to about the like whole Twist full release is just like getting new cards. I've been advocating for a Wild specific expansion for just years now, pretty much since I've started playing Wild. And the fact that they're finally doing it is great. I have my concerns about like a few outlier cards, but the fact that they're doing this at all is a good thing and should not be ignored in some of like the noise of nitpicks about certain cards. So I appreciate that they're doing this. I wish if they were going to call it a Wild set, there would be a little bit more like concern for how these cards impact the Wild format versus like printing them for what seems to be prioritizing the Twist format. But I don't know. Hopefully they do it again, and hopefully if some things go wrong, hopefully they learn from those things when they move on in the future. So overall, on the whole, and this applies to the entire like Caverns of Time revamp and the Twist format, a good move. And it's a good move for both people that enjoyed Twist and for people that enjoy Wild. There's some specifics that I think that they got just wrong, and I'm a little bit bummed about that, but I'm not going to let that like take away from like the general good that the set is.
Yeah, the new cards are gonna be the big thing that elevates the mode in general, both in terms of I think this players wanting to try it out, but also the power level and how the format is probably going to feel quite a bit different in some ways than what people think. The card generation, card draw, the combo compared to board-based gameplay, that is all going to have like a very similar, familiar feeling to it. But a lot of these cards are like very 5-star power level, even in the context of modern Hearthstone, and they're going back paired with 2016 strategies and cards, and so these are going to be really a lot of the backbone of the format. The power level of them is so high, and I hope that they're not so high that they necessarily completely warp and dominate the format in ways that everything feels too separate from what we used to have. So I hope the nostalgia is still there, even with a lot of these new cards. Again, like Roffle mentioned, these are primarily again as seeing these as something that's for Twist content. In terms of Wild, it's kind of like we just got another 2 random standard expansions and we just accelerated the power level even more. But maybe that's not even a bad thing. Maybe it's Wild continues to be for the people that want that kind of experience, then sort of ignore people that don't want that kind of experience. And then if you do want a more curated experience, that is what they're trying to do with Twist. And hopefully this bridges the gap between old and modern Hearthstone, so it isn't quite as jarring for people going from Wild to Twist with some of these new cards. So power level very high. Excited for Twist.
Yeah, I'll echo all of those sentiments and comments. Also very, very excited for Twist. So Twist will be out on season reset. So on the 1st of September, regardless of where you are in the world, whatever server you're playing on, whenever September 1st drops, that's when Twist will be available for you. It also feels like new cards are supposed to be out on the 31st. That is my understanding. So we do get a day of playing with them in Wild before we move on all three of us probably going to be maining Twist for a little bit here, so talking about some Twists, in the next couple of episodes. But I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. A little bit of a sellout. Theory crafting. We're not going to talk too much about theory crafted decks and things like that, but I know Corb and I have been doing some. There'll be a spreadsheet, I think, of decks that I'll throw in the description if you guys want. And then, of course, I'm assuming Roffle's going to be making a ton of content on YouTube about it. And I know all three of us are going to be streaming. So tons of content out there if you guys want anything. I've done your guys' job for you in terms of selling out. But if you guys want to add anything else, let the people know.
Yeah, go to twitch.tv/GetMeowth for the hot new wild and twist deck list. And I'm personally looking forward to that spreadsheet. So, I'll be checking the description as soon as this video comes out.
God, I'm trying to remember everyone's socials so I can sell out the next person. But no, you can find me at Corbett on Twitch or Corbettgames on YouTube and X. I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna force it, dude. I'm gonna force X.
Force it until it becomes normal. That's weird.
Yeah.
Roffle, twitch.tv/Roffle, youtube.com/Roffle. Because he hasn't been sold out yet. So make sure you guys check out his content. Spoiler alert, the spreadsheet's not going to be complete until Twist comes out on Thursday. So it'll be a work in progress. But if you guys just keep clicking that link and check it back, it'll be filled out. Now, but thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for listening to the card review. Hopefully you guys are excited about the 36 new cards coming to Twist and Wild. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys again next time. Later.